You married?
I was.
When were you married?
About a year and a half ago.
And who were you married to?
Lauren Stacks.
Lauren Stacks. Also, and her name was what before y'all got married?
Lauren Eisenhower.
And when y'all first got married, where were y'all living?
We were living in Beaumont, about less than a minute from the church.
Which church you talking
The
about?
Apostolic Church.
That's here in Beaumont?
Yes, sir.
Is that where you worship?
Yes, sir.
And is that where you met her?
No, we met, I actually drove up about 10 hours to Fort Smith where she was still going to college.
Tell me what Lauren was doing career and education-wise.
She had just finished her dental hygienist degree, and she had been working, I think, for about a year in that field whenever everything happened.
Did she move down here when y'all got married?
We were working on it. She was still finishing the contract where she lived in Murfreesboro.
Was she looking for work here?
Yes, sir.
And was the plan for her to move down here full-time?
Yes, sir.
In June of 2024, specifically the 13th, that evening, did you have an opportunity to speak with your wife?
Yeah, I came home from work, had a long day. We had planned to have a date night, but her and Camille had been texting all day, her and her little friends.
Who did you say she was texting
Camille
with?
Marty.
And Camille Marty, did you know her as well?
Yes, sir.
How did you know her?
That was Boston Carr's fiance.
She was engaged to a friend of yours?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Carr?
Yes, sir.
And did they also attend y'all's church together?
Yes, sir.
And so you said she'd been texting Camille and some other friends. What were they doing that evening?
They were planning to have a little girls' night at Lindsay Chandler's house, and they were just gonna hang out and do whatever girls do, I guess.
Where did Miss Chandler reside?
They lived in Port Arthur.
Okay. When was the last time you saw her?
That night, or that evening, afternoon. So
Okay.
it was about, I would say 4 o'clock. She cooked me dinner, and we talked for about an hour, and then she went on her way.
Do you know what time she left to go to her friend's house?
I want to say it was like around 5 or 6.
After she left, did you have communication with her that night?
Yes, sir, we texted.
And she went to Miss Chandler's house?
Yes, sir.
And do you know what they did there?
I believe they swam. I know they left the house at some point and went and got snacks at HEB, the couple stores, I can't remember which ones, but then they went back to the house after that.
Now, Lauren and her friends, did they drink alcohol?
Yes, sir.
Any of them do drugs?
Yes, sir.
Is there any kind of partying going on?
Yes, sir.
Swimming and hanging out at the house?
Yes, sir.
When was the last time that you heard from her?
I believe I fell asleep around probably 11 or 12.
And had she texted you at that point?
Yes, sir. The last text, I believe, was that she was coming home to see me soon and that she loved me.
In the early morning of June 14th of last year, did you realize something was wrong?
Yeah, I woke up and it was probably, I want to say 1:30 or so. I can't remember the timestamps, but I woke up and she hadn't texted for a while. I had her location on my phone.
And so at that point when you woke up, did you expect her to have been home by then?
Yes, sir.
Was that unusual for her to have been out that late with her friends?
Never.
You stated you could follow her location on your phone. Were you able to do that?
I was, but it had her in front of the prison or the jail for like an hour or so when I looked up and I saw that. Maybe it was an hour, I can't remember for sure, but
it wasn't moving, was it?
it wasn't moving.
So what did you do?
I immediately threw clothes on and got on the road.
And you're driving from where?
From Beaumont.
As you got close, did you realize something bad had happened?
Yeah, so when I turned that curve going on 69, I saw a lot of,
You saw lights?
yeah, I saw the lights.
Chris, when you pulled up, could you tell there had been a car crash?
I knew there was something wrong.
Can you tell the judge what you did see when you pulled up?
I couldn't see much because it was the median was in the way, but I turned around on the underpass and I saw there was a cop that stopped me. I guess he was directing traffic. And I asked him, I said, "Has there been a wreck?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "My wife, her location was right there." And so he let me through. I drove through and I was stopped about probably 100 yards from the spot of the accident. And I couldn't remember exactly what was asked or what I said, but they basically told me, I showed them my phone, I showed them the location, and they couldn't even tell who it was or who was in the vehicle or anything, because the bodies were just...
There was a burning car at
Yeah.
the scene, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And from that car, there were no survivors, were there?
Yeah, they took them, I believe they took them weeks to find out who it was.
But was it ultimately identified to be your wife?
Yes, sir.
Lauren Stacks?
Yes, sir, she was in the passenger seat.
This is a dumb question, Chris, and I'm sorry to ask it. What's this done to you?
It's affected me in every single aspect of my life.
How long has y'all been married before she died?
Only 19 days.
I'm sorry you have to be here, Chris. I'm sorry all these people that are in court have to be here. You and I spoke about this case, the legal side of it, and what can possibly happen. What are you asking Judge West to do today?
I think the only thing that can be done is the maximum sentence. I think that's the only way that any kind of healing can be done. From just on my end and from the 1,000 lives that were affected by this senseless tragedy.
Thank you, Chris. I'll pass it to Sharon.
Any questions? Thank you.
How old are you, sir?
I'm 22 years old.
And, well, back in June of 2024, were you engaged to be married?
Yes, sir, I was.
And who are you engaged to be married to?
Camille Marty.
And how did you meet Camille?
I met Camille right during COVID at a church conference in Sebastopol, Mississippi. She was from North Carolina. I was from Beaumont, Texas, so it was a pretty unlikely meetup, in the middle of nowhere, Sebastopol, Mississippi. And
I take it y'all hit it off.
we did. It's a hilarious story that I was in the altar in the worship service, and she was in the altar in the worship service, and we saw each other in the altar, and we probably made eye contact 20 times in the worship service in the altar. And after service, I made sure to say hi to her.
And at what point did y'all become engaged and married?
We got engaged in March of 2024.
Now, what was Camille doing as far as work and education at the time of her death?
She had just finished nursing school. She had graduated that May.
And had she moved down here?
Yes, she graduated in May, and after graduation, my family went to a graduation in Mississippi and moved all of her things down to Beaumont, and she lived in Beaumont for 2 or 3 weeks before the accident.
Now, church is pretty important to you and your family, isn't it? Tell me why you're so connected with the church.
The church is my life. My father is the pastor of the Apostolic Church in Beaumont, and everything I do on a weekly basis revolves around my faith in the church.
And you are friends with Christopher Stacks, correct?
Yes, sir.
And y'all had this friendship, and both were starting your families together at the same time, is that correct?
Yes.
And y'all had brought your fiancé and his wife into y'all's church family.
Yes.
Were they embraced by that church?
Absolutely. They were loved by everyone. And that's an understatement.
Is it fair to say that most of these folks behind me are church members
Yes, sir.
that are here to support you and Christopher and the Eisenhower and the Marty families and Lauren and Camille?
Yes. Most of the church family.
How did you find out that Camille had been killed?
I was asleep, and my dad busted into my room, and it was about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I remember waking up, and he just said, the girls got in an accident. And my first thought was that they had to be okay. There was no way something like that could happen. And I immediately asked, are they okay? What hospital are they at? You know, what ER are they in? And all my dad could say was, they didn't make it. And all I could say was no. Just no. And I jumped out of bed, and I still just couldn't believe it. There's no way. And I got dressed as fast as I could, and I ran downstairs, and I didn't know what I could do. I thought there was something maybe I could do. And my dad just told me, he said, Bubba, there's nothing you can do. There's nowhere you can go. Can't do anything.
And since this has happened, how's it affected you, Boston?
I had begun building my life with Camille, and my life plans and our life that we were building together, and we had just begun to build together, was just taking off. And the one thing that I thought I had done right in my life was deciding to marry Camille. And with that gone, I feel so lost in like this life that I was supposed to have has been taken away from me.
I'm asking the same question that I asked Chris. What do you want to see happen here today?
Full sentencing underneath the law, that's possible.
And that's actually not enough, is it? Nothing can fix it.
I don't believe it is.
I understand. Thank you, Mr. Carter. I'll pass it to Michelle.
No question.
Thank you.
There were a couple of things that I would be able to talk to you about. You've been in jail continuously since this happened. That is correct, yes. And there was something about a jail incident. Can you tell the course what that was? Is that the only incident you've ever had while you're in jail? Yes. But we'll tell the judge what's out. Yes, there was rumors going around my dorm that I had on TV remote control, which I ever did. I don't know exactly what was the deal with that. But I made one of the officers up there that I needed to talk to him and kind of let him know. I said, look, you know how I am and stuff. They're saying I fear this is a rule going on. I don't have nothing to hide. You know, it's not true. And it just said okay and kind of walked away. And then I guess about 30 minutes later, they searched my cell, but they didn't find out because I didn't have him. And so, were you ever disciplined or written up or sanctioned in any way? No, sir. No, so that's just something that happened that you put it in here, but you weren't punished. Nothing was found. No, sir, nothing was found. I wasn't punished on it. Yeah. What have you been spending the time in jail with? I've been trying to do whatever I can to get back physically doing what I've done, like basically walking, a little bit of therapy. I mean, we don't have no therapy or nothing. And like out there, to see the civilian world. So I just do whatever I can. I've been talking to other prisoners. I've been mentoring some prisoners there since I'm one of the oldest in my dorm. One of the few older people there in my dorm. So I've been mentoring some younger guys in there and just help around like with the troubles in life and stuff like that. They do. We don't remember the church before. Yes, sir, I'm on Solid Rock Church. How long had you and your family been attending? We've been going there for about 20 years. I know your face wasn't a jailhouse conversion. No, sir, it wasn't. Have you, in that regard, have you done anything with other prisons as far as talking about your faith and things like that? Yes, sir, I have. You and I were talking about having trial. I want you to explain to Judge, why did you decide to really guilty? I decided to be guilty because of my drinking that night. I caught this accident. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I went out the wrong way. It caused this tragedy. I can't say much about it. I did it. I caused this accident. I caused them hurt to the families that are here. The Eisenhower family, the Marty family. And I mean, that's the reason why, because there's no other, I can't say nothing wrong. I was in the wrong. My drinking caused this. That's pretty much why. You talk to me about things that you would hope to do with this tragedy. What are some of the things that I want to do is bring awareness, like more awareness to the drinking and driving. Bring it out there, go to maybe high school or something before they graduate. Talk to them. I definitely would like to maybe partner with a math organization. I think in some way and somehow I can tell my testimony. One says this would never happen to me, well, it happened to me. And I would like to bring that more, maybe start in my hometown and eventually come back here to Beaumont and do that in all high school. I'll bring the awareness that you never say never, because that's one of the things that clearly is happening. It's just terrible. And I would like to make younger people realize that drinking and driving is not good at all. Now, when the parent was trial, you've never been convicted of a felony anyway, correct? That is correct. So you technically qualified for probation. Are you asking this court for probation? No, sir, I'm not. I don't think it's appropriate. I'm taking full responsibility for my action. And that's why I don't think it's appropriate for me to even think about it. So when the probation officer included all that in the report about, that's nothing you asked for. That's just something they put. That is correct, yeah. So I think the last thing is there anything you want to say to families besides how it's why? Yes, something. Let's go. To the Eisenhower family, to the Marty family, Mr. Stacks, Mr. Carr. There's nothing that I can say, nothing that I can do to bring the loved ones back. Yep. The remorse, the shamefulness that I feel about this, just unthinkable. Nothing that has happened to me compares to the destruction that I've caused in your lives. I've destroyed your life. Nothing that my injuries, that doesn't even compare. I can't even fathom what you all are going through. I really don't. And I've thought about this for over a year. I just can't come up with a proper thing to say, but when I said, I wish this upon even my worst enemies, because I know you all are hurting beyond imagination. And like I said, I can't. I wish I could do something, but I can't. Have you answered me good from your personal side? Yes, I have. I ask for forgiveness for my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And I'll have my judgment day with him one day. Trust me. I've said it to myself a bunch of times, and I've said it to him too. Why didn't you kill me instead of that? I would have short that. Yeah. But he did what he did. And I'm sorry. Very sorry. That's
Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Nichols?
yes. Mr. Gómez, how many DW activations did you have before this night? 3. 2 here in Texas and 1 in Virginia. That is correct. Now, on those occasions, you were put on probation. Yes, sir. And part of probation for DWI, I'm sure they taught you the risks involved in drinking and driving. That is correct. And you learned why it's so dangerous. Yes, sir. So you've been through this before. Yeah. You stated when you were wanting to get out, go speak to kids, and teach them about drinking and driving, you wanted to show them that you don't think it could happen to you, but it happened to me. That was your words, right? Just, it happened to you. This, not you did this to them. But it happened to you. That's how you see this? Oh, no, sir. How old are your children? 27, 21, 20, and 18. And if, God forbid, they were taken from you because of someone drunk, intoxicated driving, what would you be asking the judge to do? I would let the justice system look at all the facts and the judge, and for her to decide, for them to decide what is the right thing to do, the right decision. When you're taking shots at the strip club and stumbling over your chair, what was going through your mind? What? No, hold up. And then after that, you decided to get in your truck and drive 20, 30 miles back to where you live off of West Park, the Rush. Correct? Yes, sir. And your evening started at the top rated point. Yes, sir. Where you drank 8-9 beers between 5:30 and 9. Was that accurate? Yes, right. So. And you left the city of Port Arthur after having had 8 or 9 beers and drove for 30 minutes or so to a strip club in Bones. Is that accurate? Yes, sir. And for several more hours, you continued to drink. You took shots and you drank beers. Yes, sir. And then after it's about 12:30, 12:45 in the morning, you got in your truck to drive back to West Port Arthur Road. Yes, sir. And you're asking this court to give you some mercy for your choices. Sorry. I'm asking the court to review the facts. As the judicial system, they can make the right decision on what they want to do. So I'm sure they can. That's good.
Anything else, Mr. Young?
One question. Mr. Nichols referred to the prior offenses, the misdemeanor driving while intoxicated. When was the last one? 2005. That's it.
Anything
No
else?
question, Chair.
All right, thank you. You can sit down.
The other, Mike Fly, recognize profound loss that he has caused. And if this was nothing more than about an expression of that loss and devastation on Eisenhower and the Marty family, the decision, just like the state is going to ask for, just like Mr. Carter asked for, maximum. But this court knows that our criminal justice system requires that we look at more factors here. Because our criminal justice system is about more than punishment or expression of loss and devastation. This court has a difficult job because you have to distance yourself from, I know, what we all personally witnessed and felt hearing that testimony. Hey, that we saw. It's difficult, but our criminal justice system said we have to look at different things. And so what are the things I would ask this court to look at? My client's acceptance of responsibility. He has never once intimated to this court he was not guilty. We were discussing who should do the punishment since day one. He has always wanted to accept responsibility for his actions on that end. And I can tell you from speaking to him, I think it came through the stand, since I first met him, he has been extremely remorseful about you. He didn't want to talk about the impact on his family that's present here, his wife, his children. Because he knows, he told me, don't put them on the stand, because whatever they're suffering is nothing compared to what the Eisenhower and the White family is suffering. He understands he's going to prison. That's what's going to happen, is what has to happen. But he does want to try to do something with this. And as became clear, and it's clear that PSI, living was been a big part of his life, and his children's lives, and his family's life. He didn't ask the Eisenhower Marty family for forgiveness because he knows he can't forgive himself. And he knows there'll be other things that you'll have to answer for in the future. I wanted the court to be aware of some of the factors that led to this. Not because they excuse in any way Mr. Gómez's behavior, nor does he want the court to think excuses his behavior. But to ignore those factors in doing this, two establishments that grossly overserved an intoxicated person, violating the law, violating their commitment to their patrons and to the citizens of Jefferson County, that has to be considered. The ongoing, never-ending, incredibly confusing signage construction that doesn't seem to make any progress only continues to put people, those are things that could cause not simply an intoxicated person, but any of us to end up in that situation going the wrong way. To ignore those factors excuses, endorses, and will not change anything about those things that are impacting the I'm only asking this board to look at everything. Balance all the factors. Look at the obviously considerable loss and devastation. But consider the things that it contributes to it. My client's remorse, and acceptance responsibility, and myself and my client are under. We trust that this court is going to impose so that it's fair and just both parties. Like, Judge, you heard how these crimes have ripped two young families apart, ripped the community apart. And yes, as devastated Mr. Gómez's family as well. But they get to see, they get to visit him. At some point, he may be released. I'll submit to the court the physical evidence in this case would have been horrendous, and I'm glad we did not have to have the family sit through that. But the magnitude of this crimes, and the loss they caused, I think, calls for the maximum sentence allowable under law. Each case is punishable by 2 to 20 years. Under the provisions of Penal Code Section 303B1A, the court can run those consecutively, stacked on top of each other. That is what I'm asking the court to do. 2 maximum sentences with deadly weapon findings stacked on top of each other, allowing the maximum sentence in this third case, the felony DWI, which doesn't really affect anything at the end of this day. I understand there's times for mercy and there's times for compassion, but I think I deserve mercy because fathers guilty to the victims, and they've been through everyone's worst night. 20 plus 20 is 40, and that's really not enough, but that is the maximum allowed under law, and that's what I'm asking you to do on behalf of the Motta family, the Eisenhower family, Christopher Stacks, Boston Carr, and then their entire faith community. One reason all these people, including the Gómez family, are here in this court today is what she chose to do. And it is a tragedy up and down. And so I'm asking you to protect the citizens of Jefferson County from any chance that this can ever happen again to Mr. Gómez. Thank you, Your Honor.
Good, thank you. Okay. First, I really do want to thank everybody for being here. We don't have full courtrooms like this. These, just as both of the attorneys said, these are some of the most difficult cases that any judge has to deal with for many reasons, obviously. Mr. Gómez, had you been in, well, I'm not sure that it would matter, but had you been in here and this was your first DWI, there might be some sense of what your attorney was asking for from me, which is true. I mean, I have to detach myself from the emotional part, which is, it's impossible, but it's required, and I do the best I can to do that. And there are things about you and your life in the past that are good. There are things that the 3 prior DWIs should have taught you. Your age, you're 52 now, 53 now. You know, it's the 3 DWIs previously, even though they're older, and your age, it's not the establishment's fault. Did they violate the law? Absolutely. You're a grown man. Got into a vehicle, and I think it was underrepresented by Mr. Nichols from what I read, that there was at least 12 fears at the first place. and then you drive. I guess we're lucky in some ways you didn't get whatever family was on the road going that direction. And then go falling over yourself at 50-something years old. You know at that point, you know you shouldn't be in a vehicle. You know from your history, you know from your age, you know probably from telling your own children not to drink and drive and trying to probably instill that in them. And you did it. And you did this. So at this time, in cause number 24 DCCR 1651, I'm going to find you entered your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily, find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and at this time find you guilty of intoxication manslaughter with a vehicle. I'm going to sentence you to a term of 20 years in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Corrections. There will be an affirmative finding of a deadly weapon. I am basing that on all of the information that's presented in both the pre-sentence report, the attached reports from the officers, in addition to the letters from Mr. Stacks, who unfortunately had to drive up and see this in person, from what they had to use to identify these two precious young lives, that there's no way that there is any doubt that you used your vehicle in a manner capable of causing death, and that you in fact did that. In cause number 24 DCCR 1652, I'm also going to find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and at this time find you guilty of intoxication manslaughter with a vehicle. Sentence you to a term of 20 years. There will also be a deadly finding in that case based on the same information and evidence that I used in the previous one. That sentence will run consecutively to cause number 24 DCCR 1651. In cause number 24 DCCR 1653, I'm also going to find that you entered your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily, find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and at this time find you guilty of driving while intoxicated, third or more. Find those prior offenses true. Sentence you to a term of 10 years in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Corrections. That will run concurrently with the other two sentences. Ultimately, there's no getting past your history, your age, and the consequences of what those choices were. I'm sorry to your family for what you did to them. I'm more sorry to the other families for what you did to them as well. Mr. Nichols, is there a victim impact statement?
There will be.
Okay. We'll go off the record for this.